Well, we got to talk about the recent call out with Tim Pool. What sparked that, and has he responded to any of your comments yet?
I don't think he's responded, but it's really been one-sided. But out of the blue, out of a clear blue sky the other night, he goes on this rant and says that I'm Israel first. He says, Nick Fuentes is Israel first. And, I've been called a lot of things for as long as I've been doing this. I've been called a Nazi, anti-Semite, racist, fed, gay, every kind of thing you can imagine, every slander. No one's ever accused me of being pro-Israel.
That one hurt you the most?
That one hurt. Okay, yeah, that one hurt me a little bit. He said, I'm Israel first. And he said, and I've heard this before, he's not the first one to say something like this. He said, if all you talk about is Israel, he says, then in a weird roundabout way, you are giving Israel more credit than they deserve. You have an outsized perception of what they're capable of or who they are. He said, so if you're banging your head against the wall, all you talk about is Israel, then do you even care about America? Maybe you care more about Israel, have more of a negative opinion of Israel to the detriment of a positive feeling towards America. That's a debate I'm eager to have. I'd be very interested in that, because this is a talking point which has become very popular in a very short amount of time. So much so that I almost suspect that this is a talking point that was developed and then deployed. And I say that because I've seen Oron McIntyre from Blaze TV, Matt Walsh from Daily Wire, Tucker Carlson. They've all said exactly the same thing in interviews in the past 2-3 weeks. And they say something like this. They say, I only care about America. I don't care about Israel. My rebuttal to that is, of course, we care about America. That's the name of my show. It's America First. But if you care about America, you care about its governance.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with America is corruption. It's that foreign governments, multinational corporations are influencing our system. They're bribing the politicians. They have regulatory capture over the bureaucracy. They influence the war machine. That's why we get all these policies like free trade or the war in Iraq, which are not in America's interest. These are things that benefit certain companies, certain countries. They don't benefit the actual people of the country. So, of course, if you care about America, you need to care about if Israel's influencing our foreign policy. If you cared about America, you care about our military. Should we go and fight a war in Iran? Most Americans would say no. Israel says yes. They're very clear about this. If you care about America, you need to care about, that Israel is exercising a veto over our military and our foreign policy. That's just one example. So he said all that, and I delivered this rebuttal on my show, and I said, you know what? I said, let's stop the nonsense. If you want to call me out and say I'm Israel first, have me on the show. Everybody loves to have a position about me. They're very confident in calling me out for whatever reason, from any angle, when I'm not in the room. And that goes for Jordan Peterson, Shapiro, Tim Pool, Charlie Kirk. These are all people that have called me out over the years, called me names.
I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.
Lied about me. And I said, let's have a debate. Let's talk about it. You have this ideology, very mainstream, conventional, orthodox. I have this underground, heterodox, dissident view. Let's have the conversation. This is the free marketplace of ideas. It is they that adamantly have refused across the board over 10 years. So, it just becomes very frustrating. So I had a little bit of an unhinged rant on Temple, a lot of swearing and, pretty aggressive. But I'm very frustrated about it over the years. So.
I wonder if in their minds, they don't want to platform you and potentially lose sponsors and revenue.
Yeah. And I think that's a big reason. I'm sure that's part of the reason why, but then they should just say that.
Yeah.
Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining and say, oh, well, a lot of them say, well, we don't have him on because he's a jerk. He's a nasty guy. And it's like, I think I'm a polite guy. Even if you disagree with me, I'm pretty polite. And I think that if they were transparent about it, it would reveal kind of the whole game, which is, wait a second. I thought we're in a free marketplace of ideas. Now you're telling me that if you talk to a certain person, you're going to lose all your money. What does that say about the political discourse? What does that say about our politics that, from Candace Owens to Ben Shapiro, really the full spectrum, they're all dependent on platform access on the major social platforms. They're all dependent on ad revenue from big sponsors, from certain companies. And it seems that those platforms and those sponsors exercise control over what the people say, who they can talk to, what opinions they can have. So when you watch a show, are you getting that person's opinion? Are you getting a real opinion? Or are you getting talking points that are sort of filtered? You know, even if it's not, you know, maybe not necessarily somebody says, you can't say this, you can't say that. Even if it's a quiet self-censorship where somebody says, oh, if I have this guy on, I'm going to lose my show. It's really a difference without a distinction. Because people like to say, do you really believe that so-and-so on television is getting a list of what to say and they're sort of cynically and self-consciously lying to their audience? Not necessarily. I think people like opportunities. They like to get paid. They want to have a big platform. They know there's a game, so to speak, and to win, you have to play the game. And we all know what that means. Tucker knows what that means when he lost his job at Fox. Candace knows what that means when she lost her YouTube for about a month last year. We all know what you can say. We all, especially in this space, you know, you're a content creator. We all know where that line is. It's sort of implied. And we all make decisions every day and all the time. Are we going to approach that line, cross that line, avoid it completely? And you know, someone like myself, it's my existence is inconvenient for them because I'm somebody that says, I have no lines. I have no sponsors. I've been banned from the platforms. If they ban me, I don't care. I'll go on an alternative platform. And, you know, so there's just sort of like this deep contradiction. You can't go out and tell your audience, I'm uncensored. I'm free speech. I'm a free marketplace of ideas. Oh, but I'm on YouTube, so I can't say this. Oh, but I have a sponsor. I can't say that. Somebody like Nick Fuentes exists alongside, and I hate when people say their own names. I think it's very narcissistic, you know, but if someone like myself comes around and says, well, I'm banned on YouTube and I talk to everybody and I say whatever, it kind of makes all these people look like controlled opposition. And I think they hate that. Yeah. So that's a big part of it.
No, it's a good point. It makes you wonder who in alternative media, especially the political space, is compromised or influenced or paid off. I feel like it's a good amount of people.
I think it's everybody. I think it's almost, and you know, that's not to say I'm the truest, you know, and best or whatever, but you just have to follow the money. And people say that I have a cult-like following. Okay, guilty as charged, you know. So do a lot of the great movies and underground artists. I mean, I have a loyal audience. They pay me to do my show. Question is, how many of the big streamers could survive just on their audience paying them? Very few in the conservative political space. Very few of them have genuine fans. You got the top guys, like no doubt a Tucker could raise money from his audience and make a good living. Candace Owens, I'm sure. But once you get into that like B and C tier, I think it becomes impossible. I don't think they make 30 grand if they're dependent on audience donations or things like that. So, you know, a lot of them then are dependent on the hand that feeds them.
Yeah, it'd be tough for sure. And you tweeted out you're blacklisted by almost everyone in the conservative space, right?
That's
Daily
right.
Wire, Turning Point, Pierce Morgan, Blaze TV, CPAC. How do you know that for sure?
They've told me I got kicked out of CPAC. I get kicked out every year. Every year that I go since 2019, they literally throw me out. And it's as simple as this. I went in maybe a year or two ago just to check. I walked in the night before it even started. And I just literally strolled in. And they've got like it's in a big convention center. So they've got the big ballrooms and then the big hall, you know, where they'll have like the, you know, they have like drinks and exhibitions and things like that. So I'm not even in like really the main ballroom. I'm in this exhibition hall. I'm strolling through. It took 5 minutes for security to clock me in this big crowded room. Mr. Fuentes, can you come with us? And then they throw me out. And it's been years. I'm not there to start a problem. I'm just walking around and, you know, the same goes for Daily Wire. I've asked them for many years, have me on the show, debate me. None of the shows will. Not Clavin, Knowles, Walsh, Shapiro, Peterson, Candace, when she was there. None of them would do it. And then with Turning Point USA, I'm on the blacklist. They throw me out of their convention every year.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.